What he's telling you is that his macros mean more than his children. That's what he's saying. Really.
Right now.
Use it for the things that matter. Put the energy towards the things that matter.
Yep.
Get the squeeze, get the squeeze. Resist, 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 fight.
It's honestly been my best prep yet.
Ooh. You get kind of like electric shocks through your forearms.
I'm gonna head to a butcher shop, get a nice fat
New York butcher shop?
nice fat steak.
Oh yeah.
Take it home and cook it up.
He knows what it is.
That was aggressive.
What's your body composition at? Are you
Yeah.
fat?
Own it. Finish.
We're just getting started. So, more to come. More to come. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. We are here at No Limits Fitness today. 3 and some odd change out from the first show, the NBW International, which is going to be over in the UK. Very much so excited for that. We're training with Will and Nate here. Will and Nate have both respectively done 2 shows, right, thus far?
2 so far, yeah.
And they're getting ready to go for the Yorton Cup
Next
here
weekend.
in a week and some change as well. You guys want to update a little bit on like where your prep process has been? I know you're kind of coming towards the home stretch, so to speak.
Yeah, so we're 34 weeks in. We've done the 2 shows. I got 3rd overall last weekend in Minneapolis. And we're both qualified for the World Championships next weekend, which will be our first Yorton Cup. There's over 233 pros competing next weekend.
Okay.
So it's all women on the Saturday, all men on the Sunday. There's 4 classes of pro bodybuilders.
Good, nice.
Obviously, we're not in the same height class.
Really?
But yeah, man, I'm ready to be on stage and be done.
Is this your guys' first Yorton both ways?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got 7 athletes competing, with us included.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, we've been at it for 34 weeks, so it's been a learning experience. It's been a grind, but
34 weeks in prep, guys.
yeah, that's been interesting.
And it's basically been a pound a week for me because I'm 34 pounds down this morning.
Have you been losing at the same rate the entire time, or was it faster on the front end?
It was faster on the front end. I got down to 165 pretty quick.
And where'd you start?
But then we did the 197. But then we did the presidential, and I was still digging, but like my weight would just not drop.
Yeah.
Like it was. I think I was just so much inflammation, stress from the entire process, being a dad and business and everything. But recently it started to drop again.
Yeah.
After the last show, so my low now is 163.6.
Okay.
And I think in peak week next week I'll probably see what the 162s.
162s,
Yeah.
and then Nate.
Yeah, so I started prep at like 248. I'm down like 45 pounds.
248. Okay.
Yeah.
You're a
Yeah.
tall
Big
guy.
boy. Big boy.
Yeah.
It was a good off season. Yeah, so 248. I'm down to like 203.2. So between show 1 and 2 was a little bit slow. My body was kind of resisting it, but then after the second show, we had a refeed meal, and my body kind of kick-started again, dropped a few more pounds. So feeling in a good spot for the final one.
Yeah, kept checking the boxes between shows because the visuals are very important at that stage, and the scale is not the end-all be-all. So you might have been seeing the scale not really changing as much, but I'm sure you guys were going through this process, and yes, you're inflamed, but you're also getting to a spot where the visuals are still stepping forwards week by week.
Yeah.
You know, things are still looking leaner, they're looking tighter, even though the scale might say 165 a couple
body's
successive
changing.
weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Then the minute that fatigue washes off, then all of a sudden, okay, the scale reflects and follows that.
100%. So let's flip roles here. How are you feeling?
Solid. I mean, genuinely very, very blessed to feel as good as I do right now. I was telling these guys earlier that in 2022, mentally, I just really started to deteriorate about 5 weeks out. We were really pushing the rate of loss too fast, and we've kept on top of that a lot better this prep. So personally, I think I'm 29 weeks or so that I've been dieting, and I feel fantastic. I started at about 200 pounds, and I'm sitting at about 177, 178 right now. So slower than a pound, per week. But that being said, I have felt fantastic.
And you feel like you're holding a lot more mass this time around?
I have lost almost like minimal strength, I would say. Really the only things that I've lost on have been like really, really big movements, like the stiff leg. Just don't have as much fat around my back and hips and stuff, so that's just the nature of it. But most of my pressing things and things that fall off pretty quickly in prep, a lot of that has maintained from a strength perspective. So we're feeling good.
I can say the same, actually. Normally, my pressing strength in every other prep has just fallen off like that. This prep, really, like, I've been matching reps across the board week after week, even with weight and calories coming down.
Yep.
So,
yeah,
I think that's been one of the biggest benefits of like a longer prep for me is like being able to maintain like a slower rate of loss has like kept me from like seeing so much reduction on like my pressing movements, stuff like that.
Yeah, way less likely to eat into tissue loss and all that for
Yeah.
sure. Because you got to think about it too. It's just a mindset shift. Like the muscle is the thing that's moving the weight at the end of the day. So if you lose a little bit of fat and you hold everything else stable, you should be able to have, like, your pecs didn't disappear. So you shouldn't be just dropping weight off of your presses, you know, rep after rep, week after week. That shouldn't happen.
It's definitely a mentality thing, because the minute people start to see the number come down on the scale, their calories come down, their fatigue there, they're going into sessions without the same level of excitement, and they're like, "Oh, I'm weak now," you know. But you're not. You've got to train with people like we're going to train together today. Me and Nate have trained together a bunch throughout prep to hold each other accountable and make sure we're not taking the path of least resistance. And it helps hold you accountable, and it's amazing what you can do. I don't know about you. It also excites me. I always think about this. I'm like, okay, if I can hold this level of performance now, then when I get into the off season, I've got to remember that and push myself even harder than before.
Yep, 100%. Where the mind goes, the body will follow. So the minute that the mind starts deteriorating, you start telling yourself you're weak, you're hungry, you're tired, blah, 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 your body's gonna follow. And then the visuals are gonna fade, the strength is gonna fade, and then you're just gonna be on the losing end of that.
100%.
So all right.
Well, let's get this upper session. Yep.
Home. For 2 or 3, and then we'll work.
Come on now.
One thing I hope people notice about the talking clip at the beginning is that we're all cold, miserable wretches at this point. So we're all wearing sweatshirts and it's like 80 degrees outside.
All right, Connor, let's go, man. Come on.
Easy.
Come on, back in.
Yep. Yep.
I'm gonna hit a couple of 5.5 and maybe go 6. Just put 5 on there actually, and then I'll be able to gauge it. Still gonna try and push, you know? Still gonna try and hold on to that strength. That's all in here. Focus, focus, come on. 3, 2, 1, yep. See.
Come on.
That was aggressive.
Last big upper session before peak week for the Orton. Got to send it strong off the way with the boys. All right, let's go. All right, you ready? 3, 2, 1, up. Got it.
It's like you want to absolutely dig still, right? And you kind of have to.
Oh yeah.
But you also don't want to just drive yourself into a crazy hole of fatigue.
It's like this
it's
balance of like, can you dig yourself into a hole that you can get out of?
Right, exactly.
You know?
When people are like us,
Yeah.
where like we have one gear. And it's
Go?
like, yeah, exactly. It's like, all right, let's like, I guess over the years you learn, right? You mature a bit in your training, and it's like knowing when to like absolutely hammer.
Yes.
And like, okay, I've got to train hard.
Yep.
But like bring the overall volume down a bit and the intensity down.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta make the smart call too.
Put your phone on do not disturb people,
Amen.
especially when you're in business.
Get it.
When you get in a peak week, what's your philosophy for training?
So I think it depends. I think a lot of it is going to be, yes, you want to pull off fatigue. I think a lot of people try to pull off fatigue a little bit too late in the stage. Like for example, in each of our instances, we've been dieting for like 30 some odd weeks. And for, some of us, that's going to mean there's not a lot of high days, refeeds.
Right.
You're not going to pull off 30 weeks of dieting. The fatigue of that can't get pulled off in 2 days.
Yeah.
So in terms of like when you're coming back into it, it should be somewhat in accordance with the food, I think. But a lot of it is going to be pulled back, maybe the intensity a smidge,
Yeah.
be very, very accurate. Like we're already going to be accurate, but maybe pull down that, like we talked about, the neural drive.
The over excessive hype
Yes.
preset, right? You shouldn't really be needing any of that in peak week.
Yeah, I like to keep all the heavy weights in. So I still want the weights to be challenging. It's not like I'm coming in and I'm like doing pump work per se.
Yeah.
Though some of the sessions towards like maybe the very end
They get a
of
bit
the
like
week.
that. Yeah, and that's exactly how we pretty much run it as well.
Yeah.
Just a slight reduction in intensity. Weight you're still trying to keep up, but you're not going to be overreaching for those extra reps, right? Like
Right.
where you might
No
say,
50-50
oh, I've
reps.
probably got one more. No. Like you don't need to, and maybe leave 2 in the tank. And I hate saying that as a bodybuilder.
Well, that's kind of the nature of it, but also too, like we've run this far for where we've not just been in prep for 30 some odd weeks, but we've also been training hard for years on end.
Well,
So
finding that threshold in prep as well, because you're not growing, right? So it's like, it's
Not if you're natural.
Yeah, as natties, we're maintaining at best. So when you're overreaching, especially in the later stages of prep, like, is there a real benefit coming from that, right? Or are you just driving yourself into a deeper hole of fatigue when calories are super low, cardio's higher? So really learning the feedback that your body's giving you is crucial. And I think too many people, because we often tend to be the type that are just one gear, we're like, well, I can get myself super hyped up for this session. That's not a problem for me. It's like, well, maybe that is the problem. Maybe the problem is actually you need to like hold back just a little bit. It's not like there's a difference between training easy and then training excessively hard,
Yep.
right? And once you can find that part there, that's the sweet spot, that's going to help you a lot in prep too.
Yeah, like you're pushing essentially to like 95%, close almost all the way up to the red line, which if you compare that to how most people normally train, that should still look way harder than most people train.
Well, and that's where like not finding your most aggressive hype song for every set comes in, right? Not having someone come over and yell at you for every single set. And that's what people do is like, you know, music can definitely be a great tool, but if you're doing it for every single set to get excessively hyped, then again, that's going to create a problem. So it's like
100%.
Learning to control your environment and control your state of mind is also going to benefit you when you're in those deeper stages of prep too, right?
100%. Like you need to be mindful of, yeah, you have those tools in your tool belt, but if you use them every single week, you're going to mentally and physically burn out so fast. So like throughout the course of this prep, there's been a lot of days where it's like, I'm listening to other types of stuff.
Exactly.
I'm listening to music where it's like, okay, maybe I mix some classic rock in there.
Man, I've listened to some worship music this prep,
yeah,
you know?
and that's
which I never would have done before.
Next level.
Yeah.
But hey, you have that, and then when on the days where it's like, all right, I need to grit my teeth and make it happen.
Day where you're like, okay, I've got to get into this. Do you need it for arms?
No.
Probably not. Right?
Most people don't, unless you have really tiny arms like myself.
I wouldn't say you got tiny arms.
Okay. One thing you'll be considerate of too when you're in prep is as you start to come down towards that later stages, you might be a little bit more mindful of training with people, bringing people into your routines and stuff. All of us, this session took forever to coordinate because we're all set into our routines. But even when we're here, we're training together, but I'm hitting a little bit more of a push focus session, and these guys got upper, which means that they got to mix in some back. I'm training back tomorrow. So neither one of us has to really throw off our split. We can be here, we can support each other, spot each other and all that, but we're still going and hitting the movements that we need to hit. We need to make sure that like I'm preserving strength on things like my chest press because I hit my chest today and then I don't hit that again until Monday, and realistically I have 3-4 times maybe where I'm going to be training my chest before the show. So every set that I do on this is an opportunity to maintain muscle. Otherwise you're going to be eroding and you're going to be wasting away. So think about it like that.
Kind of at that point of prep where like, yeah, you get a decent pump, but your forearms are just numb. You get kind of like electric shocks through your forearms. You're doing lateral raises. You feel like every fiber in the delt like ripping. Like feels kind of good, but it feels kind of weird. Because when you're in the off season and you're just coated in fat, relatively speaking, you don't feel any of that. You just get crazy pumps. But at this point in prep, you look fantastic, right? The best you've ever looked. But from a performance standpoint, you're not feeling necessarily the things that you want to feel. You look pumped when you train. It's like the only time you feel pretty full and big. When you're walking around, you feel tiny because you've lost so much overall size. But it's definitely, you've got to get used to that feeling of when you're training of like, is this normal? You get a little bit lightheaded after like most of your hard sets, especially with legs. You gotta really win that mental battle in your head when you're training legs as well at this deep in prep, because your body's like, we can't do this, we're too depleted, we're too tired. That's where the mind kicks in and you say, no, we've got to do it, and you find it. It's always there, you always find it. So making sure you just start to get moving, get the blood flowing, and then everything will follow. It will all pick up. and you'll still be able to have good sessions. They're not going to be off-season sessions, but you can still have good sessions. Don't use it as an excuse. Don't use it as a crutch. We're bodybuilders at the end of the day. Training is the most fun part of our day. So even deeper into prep, make sure it still stays that way.
Push!
Yep.
100% agree with all that. The other thing that he forgot to mention is that when you're training towards the end of prep, trying to catch a pump is like trying to catch a genie in a bottle. It might be there for a second and then it goes through your hands. It's the lack of food that you have in your system. So you might be able to funnel all of that blood and the little bit of carbs that you have into the pecs or into the delts, and you feel good after that set or two. If you leave it, if you're sat there talking to your friend for 10 minutes, you'll come back, that pump will be completely evaporated. Very different than when you're up higher, pushed up heavier in body weight, and you feel like you can just hold a pump forever because you just have so much fuel. You want to be really making sure that the amount of fuel that you have right now, it's very limited. So use it for the things that matter. Put the energy towards the things that matter. Don't go off and spend 10, 15 minutes in between each set. You don't have to chase the pump, but understand that it's just going to be harder to catch.
Good. Get the squeeze, get the squeeze. Resist, 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 fight. Good stuff.
So from this prep to your previous prep in 2022, like what's been your biggest like learning points and takeaways through the process of like this longer prep?
Well, I think one of them is your point there about it being a longer prep. The last time that I did it, I think it was 17 or 18 weeks, top to bottom.
Yeah.
And I was the same starting weight, which means I was 200 pounds last time and I was 200 pounds this time. Much, much softer 200 pounds last time than it was this go around. So biggest thing I think is prep positioning. So where you start in terms of what does your food look like? What does your expenditure look like? What's your body composition at? Are you fat? But then the other bit about it too is just the importance of the routine.
Yeah.
You know, like I was somewhat routinized the last time that I did it. I am very routinized now. And I think that the difference in that, it's just about leveling up all of those variables. You know, like before you get to a point where if you're not tracking your food, macros is hard to track. And it's a big hill to climb over. Once you get past that, you go, okay, what's the next level that I can take this to? So you do that with basically all of the variables, and I feel like I have done that with my approach to sleep, supplementation, training intensity, training precision, you know, going back, checking. So there's a lot of things that I'd say I have done very differently.
Yeah.
So how has this experience been versus the last time that you were in prep yourself?
It's honestly been my best prep yet, even though it's been a longer prep, which you could look at that as more grueling, but I've really been in a better headspace with it overall. I think the longer timeline and having good habits in the off season set me up for a successful prep. I think that's a big thing that a lot of people overlook is like when they want to get into competing, it's like, I just want to jump in and start a prep. It's all right, well, I like athletes to at least work with me for 6 to 8 weeks prior to starting a prep minimum. To make sure they're building up a baseline of a bodybuilding lifestyle first. I think if you just jump into a contest prep with no prior experience as living the bodybuilding lifestyle, it's a culture shock and it makes it way harder. It's like you said about the tracking, the sleep routine, things like that. That's been something that like I've been honed in on start to finish this prep is like very diligent about my sleep, my morning routine. With what I do as a personal trainer, meal timing it's not perfect because I got to work around client schedule during the day. But meal timing at dinner, meal timing for breakfast is always same times. I have some blue light blocker glasses I put on when I get home at a certain time. Try to cut off water intake at a certain time so I'm not getting up using the restroom a lot. Things like that, like I'm very dialed in on it. Those are things I probably overlooked in the past. But I look at it as like from a broader lens, all those things like they stack up and make a successful prep, which is like, it's just one thing, like going to bed at a certain time. Yeah, but if you go into bed at a certain time, you're also prioritizing recovery, Epsom salt baths, things of that nature, like all those little building blocks to make a successful prep. And I think just being like completely bought in on that this entire process has made it much smoother for me. It's still been very challenging, but much smoother overall mentally. and I feel like my body's responded a lot better that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the adjustment that you're making too, where you're like, oh, this is like 1 or 2% better in my process. Like it might be the shift for you of, I normally wake up every night and I go to bed at 9:45 and I wake up at 5:15 or something.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, I got to get more steps, or I got to get a little bit more cardio.
Yeah.
And then you shifting your routine like 15 minutes is very different than someone who has not lived the bodybuilding lifestyle.
Yes.
Trying to not only dial in when they're going to bed, all of the little bits about their routine, how they train,
Yes.
getting into the posing. You're trying to learn so many things and change so many things all at once. It just makes it so much harder mentally. So even if you're able to do it, the total stress load is just so much higher on that individual. So yeah, 6 to 12 weeks is like absolute minimum.
Yes.
But really, the only thing that should be changing when you start prep is you should just be bringing food down just a little bit. Everything else from a habit perspective should already be in place. You should already pretty much be living the prep lifestyle, so to speak. But for me, it's like the nutrition goes from 95% to 100%. You know, you take one less off-plan meal per week and you're down from 1 to 0. You know, it's not 15 off-plan meals per week and then now you got to dial it in and try to do 0 from there. It's so much harder. So much harder to jump right.
Come on. Push, Nate, let's go. Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing for me is I won't even let people start a prep until I feel like I can trust that they have the routine process kind of nailed down first, because it's like I said, it can be a culture shock. So you want to make sure you're going into it mentally and physically in a good spot, timeline wise, and you want to make sure it's realistic, because if you tell somebody, oh, we can get you ready in 20 weeks, and they're sitting at 20% body fat, that's going to be tough. So you want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence as a coach to make sure that they're in a good starting point for a successful prep that you guys can both be proud of.
Yeah, better on you as a coach, but also better on the athlete as well.
Yeah.
You know, most people that are 20% body fat, if they're 20 weeks out, they're either not going to get into shape at all, and they're going to show up and they're going to embarrass themselves on stage, and they're going to embarrass the other people that are standing up there with them.
Yep.
But also, too, that it's either that or they will be in shape, and you will have wasted away half of that muscle that you worked so hard to build.
Yeah, I think the starting point of your prep is like so overlooked, because a lot of people are like, oh, I'll just diet and I'll be diligent for 20 weeks. It's like, okay, well, if you're in a really soft starting point, you're climbing an uphill battle. It's pushing a boulder up the mountain.
That's totally where I was the last prep, 100%.
Yeah, I think everybody goes through that, because for myself, when I started competing in 2019, I took like a 6-month off season, didn't reverse diet well, jumped back into prep, and really didn't make a whole lot of progress, because I was just like
6 months between when you ended prep and when you started the next
it
prep.
was just like, instead of like committing and falling in love with the process of being a bodybuilder, I just wanted to get that stage leanness back, because I was craving that look, because I didn't properly reverse and set myself up for a good off season. So that's something I've personally been working on, and something I really hone in on with my clients is like the importance of your reverse diet, because it makes or breaks the success of your off season. You can set yourself up to really do well, or you're going to set yourself up where you're going to have to do a ton of mini cuts and try to pull back, and I think it just inhibits growth. So I think just being mentally disciplined and like coming out of contest prep, that first week is just so important. It's the hardest week of the whole process for me personally, because I like food, and
you
I know
have a goal to look forward to. Anyway.
Yeah. So it's like you've been training the better part of a year for this one moment, and then you wake up the next day and like, oh, it's over.
Moments of the
Like,
past.
this is, what do I do now? You feel kind of lost. So it's like, that's why it's important to communicate with your coach, or if you're self-coached, to set goals to progress you out of that phase. And I'm a big fan of not lingering around too long, like pushing your calories up, but staying on plan. Trying not to eat out a ton, stay away from sweets. I know for me personally, it's like that's my Achilles heel. Once I step into like the sweets, like my reverse diet's over. So I've had clients and friends, oh, I'm gonna bring you this. I'm like, no, I can't have it. I can't have it for a while.
Yeah.
I have to do
I have to do what's right for me.
I don't want that right.
Reverse out the right way because I put in 9 months for this. I don't want to just let it go away in 2 weeks because it can happen that quick.
Oh, yeah.
Your body's super hypersensitive coming out of contest prep, and you need to treat it the right way.
100%.
Push. 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 Okay.
All right, guys, let's do this physique update. 3.5 weeks away from show number 1 in this sharp, harsh lighting, which if I'm in shape in these types of lighting conditions, I'll theoretically be in shape anywhere, including on stage, where hopefully it will be much more favorable and I will be much tanner and have a little less hair and hopefully a little less body fat. All right, 23 days until show number 1. That is show number 1 of 3 or 4 that we're going to be doing. And it's going to be potentially an 8 to 9 week contest prep season. So we have some more digging to do. There is more work to be done, but we're just getting started. So more to come, more to come. All right, we're wrapping up the session now. I just finished up the push. These guys finished up upper. Will's got to run and got to get a meal in. That's kind of the nature of prep, but we're going to see these guys here in a week and a half at the Orton.
Well, I got to pick my son up. That's why I got to leave.
That's the priority.
The meal's got to come in
The meal has to go in.
When you have kids, you gotta get those sessions in. You gotta get those meals in. You gotta be prepared.
What he's telling you is that his macros mean more than his children. That's what he's saying. Really.
Right now, it's a toss-up.
So yeah, a week and a half until these guys are in the Orton, and then obviously we'll go overseas. Go see the NBW International
Great
here
Britain, baby. Great
in
Britain.
3 weeks.
Let's go.
And then you guys are you're judging a show,
I'm
right?
promoting
a show that is first OCB show in the UK, right?
First OCB show in Europe we will have. So the OCB Great Britain, I'm taking it back to England where I'm from. Super excited about that. Nate's coming to judge. Yeah, I mean, I'll be out of prep by that point, so I'm going to be full of energy, ready to go, back to my homeland, and that's where the nutrition. So we were having this conversation the other day. We were having this argument, but I'm like, it's easy for me to prep in America because I have no emotional attachment to the food here because I didn't grow up on it. When I go back to England, I see all these foods and I'm like, ooh, I was back in England in prep and I was walking around the grocery store like, God, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good. I don't have that issue here because none of it looks that great to me.
It's just like 5 aisles of gray beans. That's the only thing that the grocery store looks like.
Be hating on baked beans, all right? Great protein source. I don't even know.
We have everything in the U.S. That's what I was saying. We got barbecue. We have Louisiana. You got like Cajun food. You got Southern comfort food.
I'm not saying American food is bad. It just doesn't get me going like English food does.
What? Okay, one meal that gets you going. English, British food. One meal.
Honestly, it's just going to be a roast dinner.
The roast.
Yeah, the Yorkshire puddings, the roast potatoes, the brown gravy, the roast beef, the parsnips.
Yep.
All of it, dude.
I've not had parsnips, but like a roast is
it's
good.
like, so you think about Thanksgiving here, they have sweet potato casserole, they have turkey. A roast dinner in England is how we have it on Christmas.
Yep.
It's like a Sunday tradition with your family, is to sit around and have a roast dinner. So it's that like kind of nostalgic, emotional attachment to it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep. And then, okay, so where do you want to go? Again, I don't want you to make your food focus, but where do you want to go? What's your meal that you want to go get? Probably not roast dinner.
Dude, I'm gonna head to a butcher shop, get a nice fat
New York butcher shop?
nice fat steak.
Oh, yeah.
Take it home and cook it up.
He knows what it is.
That's the clean answer for him, but he's a sushi guy.
I am a sushi guy.
Where are you getting the sushi though?
I have a medically diagnosed sushi problem, so if I start eating sushi, especially after a show, I won't stop.
Where are you going though? That's the question.
We got a good local joint. Shout out to Cara. Might catch me there.
I don't think that I've been.
We're going.
If we don't go there, you might find me at Pisces.
Pisces, I've
I'm
heard.
on the ban list there, but
I had to go to
hopefully
Pisces the other week and eat my chicken and vegetables. That is what it is.
the guac dip there. They put. It's like a guacamole dip with a chip. Don't order it.
I don't think I've had that.
Can I just say, right, like people think bodybuilders aren't foodies, right? Like when I'm in prep, I was having this conversation with Nate, I reverse psychology myself. So I'll tell myself, this is easy. I don't care about food. Food means nothing. Like
it's just calories.
It's just calories.
Just
whatever.
calories.
Now, it doesn't mean I don't like food, because I promise you I like food as much as the next guy. But if you tell yourself that all prep, then you become food focused and it's all you think about. So people think bodybuilders, listen, we talk about food all the time.
Yep.
And in the off season, we enjoy food too, right?
But food's not my equivalent to happiness. Like, how happy I am is not relative to how many calories I'm eating, because those calories go in, it's nice, and then 5 minutes later, it doesn't matter. And especially when you're at this point, 5 minutes later, those go in, you're still going to be hungry. So it's just going to make things worse, and again, it's going to make your food focus so much harder.
And that's the mental battle too, because when you're this deep in prep and you're so hungry and fatigued, you think that like a cheat would make you feel better, right? Like it won't. It'll be 5 minutes of taste on the lips, and you'll go straight back to being just as hungry, if not more hungry than you were before. Yep. And it doesn't change anything. The only way for you to feel better is to gain body fat back.
Yep.
You can't gain body fat back until after the prep. So your mind's gonna play tricks on you like, oh, if I eat this, I'll feel better. You won't. You will not feel any different. You'll feel guilt about it. There's no point in doing it. Just stay the course.
The longer that you're in this bodybuilding game, the more that you'll be already catered towards the delayed gratification anyways. So it's easier for you to go, no, I don't want to feel better for 5 minutes. I would rather go towards the end goal of what I'm trying to work for. It doesn't matter. Like you said, it's 5 minutes of taste on the lips, and then you're right back to suffering. Yep. So why would you even tempt yourself with
more
that?
on your brain? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then it's just going to get harder and harder and harder.
Yep. So, but anyway, yeah, we're going to go watch these guys at the Orton Cup. Will's going to go cook up some beans or something like that. Nate's going to go get himself some sushi or some steak. But guys,
bangers and mash,
stay tuned in to the channel. We're going to follow you all throughout this prep. We got multiple shows. It's going to be a long process, so we'll document all through it, all through the peak weeks. It's going to be fun. So like and subscribe if you have not already, and we'll see you in the next one.